October 2019, we saw the release of the Ultra 1, and I made a very long video about this blaster, so I think my opinions of it are still out in the universe, and you've heard them before. If not, you can watch the video, but if you don't want to, let's just say that my opinions are, it's meh, but it's acceptable. If someone gave this to me during a game, I'd use it, but there's nothing special about it, and it being the first Ultra blaster, I didn't exactly have very kind things to say about Ultra. But it is not October 2019, and now we actually have a more complete library of Ultra blasters. The 2, the 4, and the 5. We have a picture of the 3, so we can't talk about the 3. So now that we actually have a somewhat complete library of the first Ultra blasters, I figured let's talk about more of them, because I haven't even talked about the Ultra 2 yet, and the Sonic Screamers. So let's take a look at all these new Ultra things, and let's give a more complete picture on, is any of these blasters or the darts worth your money at this point? Because in the beginning, it was not really. How about now? Well, I'm going to tell you what I think about it. You can take my word for it or not. Let's get through this together. As I said, I talked about the Ultra 1 first, and it has the highest capacity of all these blasters. Funny enough, the 1 and the 2 are both the flywheel powered. Lovely. Shush. The 4 and the 5 are the springers. The 2 is the next highest capacity, then the 5, then the 4. Now, in terms of, does that mean that they are the best because they have the most capacity? No. Based off of price, the 1 is still $50. Yikes. The 2 is $25. The 5 is $20. And the 4 is $15. So it seems like it's somewhat related to capacity when it comes to darts. The 4, I think, came with 4 darts as well. Maybe. The 5 came with 4 darts. Yes. The 2 comes with 6 darts, and the 1 comes with 25 darts. It's enough to fill all of them once, except I guess the 4 has a few extras, which is nice, because if this came with 1 dart, thanks, Hasbro. The darts themselves, we've talked a little bit about them before. I don't like these Ultra darts still that much. I've gotten used to them a little bit, but I still stand by my opinions that trying to pick up a handful of these is a bit more of a nightmare than a standard dart. And there they go. Now I can't use them. I think in the recent months, we've noticed that they don't snap as much because some of the first ones did, and these don't, which is good. I'm happy that these don't snap. It means I can use them. And the Sonic Screamers, they're blue. Well, what can I say? Do they snap? No, they don't. Great. The only difference between the 2 dart types is that the regular darts only have a pinhole on each side. You can't see that. And the Sonic Screamers have a not pinhole, more like a whistle sized hole the size of like a Sonic micro dart on both sides. So they do actually scream, which is somewhat satisfying and great if you want to add some bird mating calls. But I've overall noticed a better amount of accuracy with a standard Ultra dart rather than the Sonic Screamer. Your results may vary, but that's just what I've seen here and there. As far as performance as well, the 1 and the 2 seem to be doing about the same stock-wise. The 1, I remember, was high 80s, low 90s. The 2 seems to be in that same ballpark, around 90 FPS, so long as I'm not hitting the inside of the chronograph. The weirdest thing about the 2 is that now that I've had a chance to see many other 2s, and this is my Ultra 2, every single time, don't worry, there's no darts in here, and I'm going to open the jam door, so I can't rev it up, so I won't shoot myself in the eye. Every time I look down these barrels, you can tell that the flywheels are offset, so it's not just a problem with mine, it's a consistent problem, therefore it's not a problem. It's a factory design choice. Why? The accuracy is not good. Why? Why would you do this? I don't know. It takes 6 AA's as well, and the Ultra 1 takes 4 C batteries. So still quite a few for both blasters, which adds to the cost. But the Ultra 2 is kind of fun. I enjoy the Ultra 2, to be completely honest, but it's not without its flaws. The handle is Not the worst, unfortunately, but it's also not the best. It feels like a nice and chunky pistol. I've shown you guys my Magpie before, and it kind of resembles that a little bit, hand cannon style. And the reloading mechanism, I like. I like the reloading mechanism, as most people do as well. You can really easily reload 5 in the back, turn it once and reload the 6th, or you can do like 3 on the top, flip it all the way, and then do 3 on the 3 that were on the bottom now on the top. It's pretty satisfying to fire as well. Click, click. And a lot of people have made conversion kits for this to take standard elite size darts, and the little dart indicator that makes it so it can only fire ultra darts apparently is also very easy to remove if you are looking to do that. But stock performance is not terrible, but it's also lacking just a little bit. But the fun factor is there, and so I give the Ultra 2 a pass. For me, I don't know if my standards are that high, but I find the Ultra 2 kind of fun. That said, performance-wise, we get to the Springers, the 4 and the 5. These guys hit over 100 consistently, so I like that. The 4 in particular, while the handle on the Ultra 2 I don't find super comfortable, I like the handle on the 4. I like it better. It's not without its minor flaws. The styling seems to be very similar for most of the Ultra Blasters. It's kind of round in the back, somewhat chunky, and then very thin in the front. It's really noticeable on the 2 and the 5. This one, I don't know exactly what it is differently. So they're similar, but the 4, for some reason, is just way better for me. I like it a lot better. I have smaller hands, so perhaps that's why I know some people with larger hands might complain about it. But this blaster, I've seen it shoot up to 117. Same with the Ultra 5, so Springers. Who knew? The draw on this one is geared, big old prime back that you can also do this with, which makes me a little bit concerned over time that things might break. It's also a bit of a callback to maybe some of their first blasters Nerf ever did, so perhaps they felt a little bit of nostalgia when they were designing this, or not. I don't know, I wasn't there. It's also nice you can deprime that one as well. And with this guy, I gotta say, you get a big old pop. I missed my target. You get a pretty satisfying pop when you fire this guy, so I like that. And it would be nice if you could fire it in almost any position, but you have to push it in all the way. And I feel like that's not something that I would remember so easily if I was in the middle of a game trying to reload super fast, because that's not how people work. Especially, like, that looks pretty well seated. That looks pretty well seated too. But that's what you gotta do. If the dart's showing, it ain't firing. Perhaps something can be done to fix that. It looks like the little sensor on the inside could also be taken out pretty easily, but I haven't opened any of these up. Just looking down, it seems like that won't be too big of an issue. There's dart storage on the front as well, which is nice if you just have it like this, but if you put it in a pocket, it might disappear. There we go. I had it in my pocket earlier. I swear, it disappeared. So it's okay. It's okay there. It would be nice to maybe have something to store ultra darts on this top rail. But overall, I also really like the trigger pull on this one. Where my hand sits, the trigger's very easy to pull. And this might be my favorite out of the lot you see in front of us. I don't know. It's just kind of really straightforward to use this blaster. I know exactly what to do. I can reload it quickly because it's a front loader. There's nothing special about it necessarily, but it does what it's supposed to do and it gets decent performance. Maybe that's the ultra performance we kind of all expected from the get-go. And similarly, the Ultra 5 kind of gives you the same performance and just holds a few more. Unfortunately, where this one loses points for me is this real stupid Knuckle Duster. There we go, got it. Third try. I usually don't pick this one up immediately in the right position with my fingers. I don't know what they were thinking. Again, these handles look very similar. Even the Ultra 1 has a similar style handle. But this guy, why did they have to, did they think that it wasn't like enough like blaster real estate in plastic? Did they have to get some little yellow guard around the trigger? I don't understand it. Furthermore, I don't understand why it's 1, 1, 2 at the bottom. So people with large hands will probably really hate this. Is it easy to take that off? Probably, because it's a separate piece. Will there be a little bit of a gaping hole here? Probably. It's a separate piece. The trigger on this one also is... Okay, it's not primed. The trigger on this one also is a little weird, where I really like the trigger on the Ultra 4. The Ultra 5 is completely different. Who worked on these? Is it the same team? Is it completely different people? Triggers on these look similar. Same with the red switch. What's this? What was the logic here? 2020, no holding back your opinions. I don't get it. It's not the end of the world. It just feels really odd, especially when there's like not much space here for your finger, and I have a small hand, so I feel like if I'm complaining, many others will complain. That said, was it primed? I don't know. It hits hard, and it takes 4 darts, so you can really rattle them off. It's a huge draw on the top, though, and the reloading, you actually have to be careful, whereas the Mega Magnus, you can kind of just slap them in there. This dart is not actually the correct length of the breech when open because of the little notch in the back, so you kind of have to put it head first. And you have to fiddle with it a little bit so that you get it to a point where you're like, okay, that's loaded. Look, I'm not even holding it right now. So for that reason, I don't see this as a really good on-the-field reloader. I could be wrong. I haven't played with it in a game, but if I'm trying to reload this fast, I feel like I have to assume that will be my best case scenario when I'm not under pressure. The Ultra 4 I can do so long as I remember to push it in all the way to the front. And the Ultra 2, I actually haven't had any problems reloading and jamming, even though I've seen some people had that initial problem, so I guess I'll keep trying to jam it. The Ultra 1, I've had a few problems in the past just by not pushing the dart all the way in so that the little notch sticks out the back. But I haven't had any major jams once it's inside the internal magazine and seated properly. It's just that you kind of have to evaluate that. There's a tactical rail on the top where your hand goes. Hasbro? Why? I don't know what you will put there. Maybe you can put a vertical grip if you want. Jam release on the side so you can double feed if you want to do that. So the Ultra 5 is a bit of a mixed bag for me, but it's not a complete waste, I would say. And we'll fire this one off. So a lot to consider when saying, is this good or is this bad? Because there are some things I do like now about Ultra that I was not a huge fan of to begin with. The logos themselves have also followed the same trend where you saw on the Ultra 1, it's gold only on one side and white on the other. The Ultra 2 is gold on one side and just flat orange on the other. Gold, black with orange, gold, white. Can't even get that consistent. What is this? But also, the Ultra 1 gold seems okay. Everyone started noting that the gold foiling on the Ultra 2 starts to peel off over time. This one's brand new, so it hasn't done that yet, but I've seen, again, a few of them do that, so I have every reason to believe that's not just a problem with their specific blasters. So I assume that these might also be subject to that wear and tear. We will find out, but not the Ultra 1, because the Ultra 1 is the gold standard. The handles, unfortunately, all appear to be weird. If I had to rank my favorite, it's the 4. If I had to rank my worst, I guess it unfortunately has to be the 5 just because of this thing. If I can't grip the handle quick enough, that's a problem. And then the 1 and the 2, I don't really care. I swear I do care about some things. But you know what's still the same? The cost of the darts is still the same. The cost of the darts is the same for Standard Ultra darts and the whistling ones. $10 for 20 darts. Still 50 cents a dart. So nothing has changed to make the ammo more reasonably priced and therefore supply your Ultra Blasters with the ammo you need and the ammo that you would need for a game. And for that reason, it still makes these things kind of hard to justify overall. You saw in the beginning when like Mega Darts came out, of course they were a bit expensive. You can still find Mega Darts very, very expensive if you find these specialized like Fortnite or Zombie Strike because they've got the little markings on them. Alright, sure. But standard Mega Darts have finally gone down. You can get them in bulk sizes. I'm not even talking about knockoff ones. I'm just talking about standard ones. And then they have other types too, like the Mega AccuStrike. Now we have two types of Ultra Dart. They're the same price. And they're still the most expensive. And I would think, I don't know the numbers offhand, but I would hope that you'd find Ultra Dart prices right in between Standard Elite and Mega, because, you know, they're a size in between. But I don't think that's the case. It's more like getting up to the rocket prices when those appear back again. This has been a good ramble. But would I recommend any of these blasters? Factoring in mod potential if you're looking for that. Factoring in fun, depending on the game you're going to. These hit hard. We were firing these earlier today. They hit hard. They're really satisfying when the darts go straight. Sometimes they do go straight. Thanks, Ultra. And sometimes they don't go straight. Thanks, Ultra. The one is, I still would probably pass on the one unless you can find it discounted, because you'll get a good amount of darts, sure. But I still don't find anything super inspiring about the blaster. The trigger pull is pretty chunky. If you like it, that's great. But I think the overall hate, the super hate for the blaster came from the aggressive marketing about how this was the gold standard and the future of the hobby. Because it was not, and it also caused for significant backlash around the holiday season, which is hilarious because people were worried that this was hitting too hard, and it wasn't hitting too hard, but people were mad that it was apparently too powerful and it was underpowered, so a lot of us got mad for different reasons. So, maybe not that one still. The two, I think modders are doing a fun one with this. I kind of like it still, even if it's not super accurate. It's very satisfying to fire. For 25 bucks though, maybe it's not worth that price. I've seen it go on sale a little bit here and there, and I have a Gavin Fuzzy 9-round dart conversion kit to throw in it, so stay tuned for whenever I get to that. But people have been very hard at work to make this a blaster they want to use, and I've seen the numbers. It's pretty powerful. So, sorry, modified, it's pretty powerful. Not modified, it's almost powerful. 6 AA's as well is quite a bit. I don't know how long those are going to run for. The batteries in here now are pretty fresh. It's up to you, but maybe this one's okay on sale. The Ultra 4 I think is my favorite out of the bunch. I'm a sucker for a good single shot pistol. I think there's some good potential just to quickly modify this for other size darts. It's fun, it's very compact. It's comfortable enough for me. The draw makes sense. Maybe there's modification potential for this. Unless this breaks tomorrow, I guess I'll say that this is my recommendation from the line. 15 bucks might be out of what you would consider reasonable for a Fire Strike in the Ultra line. It's a little bit bigger. I like overall the styling of all these blasters. I think it's somewhat desirable for what my usual color scheme is. But I'll leave it up to you still. I just think this one is fun to use, and because the darts seem to go straight, it's not terrible. Oh, the 5. This is the real mixed bag. It's just so weird. It's so strange, and the reloading can be strange, and sometimes you reload. As soon as you angle it down, you have to push it back again to reload it again, and then it's still in the way. I feel like this one can be fun, but there's also a bunch of little things that detract from it. So for 20 bucks, how much was the Magnus when it came out? Compared to that, if it's worthwhile compared to a Magnus, sure. But I also understand for people who don't really care about this one. It can be fun so long as you know how to load it, but I would also worried about breaking the darts just putting it into that, and I feel like I've used blasters like the Magnus for a while now. I almost just got my finger stuck in the front barrel too, so I don't like that. But I do think it's nice that they started adding these front parts to other blasters. I think it actually makes the look a little bit better, and I'm curious to see what the Ultra 3 looks like with that front too, because I think it made it look a little bit better. But the Ultra 5 is a bit of a mixed bag. I guess I'll say I don't totally recommend that one, but if it goes on sale and you're looking for a spring-powered Ultra Blaster that seems to deliver performance, those whistlers, this one might be for you. And the darts, as I mentioned, gosh, 50 cents a dart is just still quite a lot. I'd rather spend that money on some overly sized projectile like a rocket. But that's just my take. Once these darts break, it really does seem like there's no fixing them. I have not seen any guides to fixing Ultra darts. Not that I search for them, but usually when you fix when you see a broken dart, some people have salvaged them, and I just don't think that this foam style is anything that can be salvaged, or once they literally chip off. On most of these blasters, stock performance, it ain't gonna work. I wonder what the 3 will be like. I wonder what the new ones will be like, and I wonder if there will be any more Ultra competitions to kind of justify them. I really think that Nerf had a big misstep by putting the 1 out first. Hear me out. This one should be renamed. What even is the numbering scheme, since they came 1, 2, now 4, 5, and I don't know what will come next. But I think the Springer should have come out first. By just giving you simple things like this, they could have really beefed up those 120-foot range claims better, and then the flywheels come out, and maybe it's not as big of a deal because they know that they've already got the staples. But they didn't, so it left a bad taste in everyone's mouth to start things off. Maybe there will be more competitions for that in the future, but there hasn't been any aggressive marketing since the 1. There were some spots on the 2, and now I saw an ad for the 4 on my YouTube channel not too long ago, so I would assume that there will be ads for the 5 as well. I'm not really sure what the plan is for marketing these guys. That's, I think, all I got. A nice old rambly video that I probably won't edit too much because you're worth it. I also didn't really purchase these. These are from my friends Ryan and Jesse at SilverFoxIndustries, and they were kind enough to kind of pass these around because we wanted to collectively look at these blasters, and if I want to get one myself, I will. So I might pick one of these up if I see it in the future, but I have no immediate plans for it, so I probably won't for now. But if you've picked up any of these Ultra Blasters and you have some thoughts you'd like to share, you'd like to change my opinion on these, let me know in the comments down below. I'll be curious to see what comes out after the 5, since there have been some pictures of what's next, but I don't really know what to think until I kind of see them in person, just like the 3. I've had my opinions on the look of it change over time, and maybe the blaster itself in hand will change my opinion too. But for now, I just have these Ultra Blasters. Where's my Magpie? I don't know how to end videos.